communications activities and report back to the National Security Agency. During the time of her military service, she was a subject matter expert in Soviet weapon systems. This is amazing for a woman to do this. I mean, I was in the military, and I didn't even get to do this sort of stuff. So this is absolutely phenomenal. Go, girl. This stuff is great. During the time of her military service, she was subject matter expert in Soviet weapon systems, a training curriculum developer, educator, evaluator, analyst, writer, researcher, and highly skilled in communication applications. Conducted hundreds of intelligence briefings and reports and was awarded the very prestigious, I think it's pronounced meritorious, Service Medal at only 23 years of age. After only 3 years of service, that's unheard of, guys. And what this is the peacetime equivalent of the Army's Bronze Star. She's also an expert marksman with an M16. And after assignment at the command headquarters level, where her intelligence analyst peers made up sections of the DIA, the NSA, the CIA, and the FTD, I feel like I should be saying ABC, JoAnne decided that what she had encountered at the level of access was not worthy of any more of her time. She did not want to participate in the world of electronic espionage and empire building, but would rather pursue a spiritual path where she could help others and transform their lives and their souls. JoAnne became proficient in multiple web development skills and built two online ministry university schools, authored hundreds of personal transformation workshops, webinars, audio and video sermons, and co-wrote a 600-page published book on crop circles, decoding, and the spiritual war against humanity. In 2008, she built her ministry school and opened the doors to an international audience where she exposed the spiritual and financial exploitations of the church. She taught about dream interpretation and spirituality from a New Testament semi-esoteric perspective, free of charge to all. In fact, I myself was a student of her apostles' school, which we'll get into that as well. And that's kind of how I met JoAnne back in the day. In 2012, right after her 10-day ministry trip to meet her students and ministers in London, JoAnne decided to do some research into DMT in the pineal gland. And after this, she had a massive awakening. And after 28 years as a Christian, the last 8 of them as an ordained minister, JoAnne shut down her church and ministry, walked away from a 12-year body of published work to start her journey of self-discovery and self-knowing. JoAnne truly wishes to share her love, life lessons, and encouragement with others, and recently launched her own radio show entitled Breaking the Spell, where she explores our paradigm along with the programming we've all experienced, including the awakening and awareness we all experience as we come into our individual and collectiveness as a species. Here, if I can spit it out, her passions include creative art expression, design, health recipes, whole brain intelligence, consciousness evolution, education, truth, UFOs, crop circles, ancient science, archaeology and races, technology, the trans-humanist agenda, the power of spellcasting, symbolism, esoteric knowledge, and reaching the full potential as our spirits and souls incarnate into the human bodies. I'll tell you, this is going to be one exciting evening. I want to welcome to the show JoAnne. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful this evening, Donny. Thank you so much for your kind invitation, and thank you to your listening audience. It's really great to be with you.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. The last time we spoke live was probably when I was part of the Apostle School.
Oh, years ago.
I remember when you first contacted me about that, and I looked into it, and I joined the group and everything, and it was a lot of information. I mean, you really had a incredible ministry there. That was that must have been real hard to let go.
It certainly was. The people that joined the school eventually, I became very close with as their mentor and fellow sister. And so we developed, that close communion, real, true spiritual communion that we were capable of at that time. It was really beautiful. So walking away from that brought a separation. Of course, it was difficult, but we all go through these difficult times, and we grow and learn from them. So I look at it with gratitude.
Well, it is what I always say. It is what it is. I mean, we all have our own spiritual journey. We all have our own spiritual path, and we need to understand our own self. I always say that Christ is within. And the altar of Christ is right inside you. You don't have to look any further than that. And it is what it is. That's all I'm going to say. But you've started on this, and I've been watching you on Facebook as you are just as probably as prevalent as I am doing Facebook posts and trying to get the information out as we transcend into this higher state of consciousness. Kind of tell the listeners a little bit about what you're doing currently right now, and we'll kind of get deep inside of some of these subjects that you talked about here in your bio.
Well, certainly today, if we just take a moment to look up from our iPhones and gaze into the sky, we're going to see something that is truly a historical moment. And so at the present time, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking up into the skies, and I am seeing things. I am seeing things that have shaken my entire paradigm, that have challenged me on every level of reality. And so I'm getting out my camera and I'm taking pictures of it and I'm examining them. I'm bringing all of my analytical expertise and skill sets to the table to look at these things and ascertain activity, source, just everything that can be ascertained through a photograph. I've done that before for the last decade with the Mars and Moon's photos, just as a hobby at nighttime to relax myself.
Sure.
I found it very challenging to stare at photos of Mars and the Moon and see through the NASA obfuscation techniques. It would relax my eyes and it would alter my perception. It was almost like an ethnobotanical, if you will. And I would be able to see things that caused me to have to evaluate everything I knew to be true. So I found it not only relaxing, but I found it very challenging to my being and my entire frame of reference as a human being. And so I bring that to the table when I look at these photographs of what I've taken in the skies. Mm-hmm. Things are changing, Donny, and it's going to be an interesting next year or 2 or 5. I'm not sure we're ready for what's happening.
I saw on your Facebook that you were talking about the watchers, and mm-hmm. I saw these photos that you were taking, and I myself, I have had, you know that I've had experience with these entities. What has your personal experience been with these watchers, and has it been a good or a kind of different side of, are you having kind of a polar experience with these so-called watchers, which I also believe are somewhat involved with the Archon technology?
Well, I don't claim to have any experience with watchers, and I'm not so sure that I really do want to make that claim or have that claim. But I do have great observation skills, and I do have excellent pattern recognition skills. So when I examine these photos, I have taken over 20,000 photographs, and I don't know how many gigabytes that adds up to, but it's so large that I had to wait until I got a new laptop before I could download everything because my hard drive on my old one was out of space. So now that I am looking at these things, I'm pulling them into Photoshop and processing them through filters and all of that. And many of them I have second by second, frame by frame shots of large scale activities. And I'm really having fun doing this. I know what I'm doing. And I have to say that every few seconds, my mouth just drops to the floor and I'm blown away. And I think I can't be more blown away as a human being than I was yesterday at 7 o'clock when I was last looking at these photos. And then here we go again today. I look at things, I observe things, I make connections from photo to photo, activity to activity, shape to shape, being to being, craft to craft, and so on. And I am now ascertaining strategy. And so it's like a chess game. It's like you're decoding and back engineering something. Sure. And that's what I've been doing all of my life. I first did that. Of course, my stepfather taught me chess when I was 10 years old, and then learning Spanish, and then learning Italian when I lived in Sicily. I lived in Spain for 4 years and lived in Sicily for 2. The Italian language, I completely broke it apart myself in 3 months and turned my whole thought life over into that language. So I really began to see that I had a proclivity for disassembling things and putting things back together. And then I went right into the military, learned my Russian language, which was extremely difficult, a difficult school to go through. And we had to break apart the English language though before we could go into Russian. So that was really interesting to break down my own language into such minutiae. But we had to understand all of the cases and so forth because Russian has like 36 different endings for every word. So you had to understand these things very logically. And so bringing that together with the skill sets of listening to foreign communications and then analyzing the activity, reporting that up the chain, your reputation's on the line all the time. Sure. So looking at what I am now, I'm ascertaining strategy, not only what these things are. So I'm ready to make some pretty bold statements very, very soon about what I see. And so if people want to follow along with that, I mean, you can't help but notice that something is amiss in the skies. And we're not just talking about chemtrails here. This is way, way beyond chemtrails.
Well, let's do this. We're hitting the bottom of the hour here, and we go on till 11 o'clock. So why don't we hold that pattern right there? Kind of chemtrail pun there. We'll hold that pattern, and we're going to come back live in the air in about a few more minutes. We're going to play some good old sponsors here from the Truth Frequency Radio Network. You are listening to Donny Gillson, 32 Degrees of Insanity, on the Truth Frequency Radio Network worldwide. My special guest tonight, JoAnne Cremer, as we talk about the esoteric and UFOs and the Watchers and all kinds of different things that might enlighten ourselves and what is happening currently. Okay, we'll be right back here on KBeach Radio, kbeach.org.
Like a cancer that's silently spreading.
Agent for Truth with Joe Bannister. Sundays on Truth Frequency Radio.
We are back. It is 9:31 of the p.m., 10/9/2014. Donny Gillson, 32 Degrees of Insanity, your host with the most, right here at KBeach, kbeach.org, and the Truth Frequency Radio Network. You know, as I was looking, as we were taking the break here, I was kind of going over some of my notes over the last couple of days on Facebook, and I saw something here when I wanted to read to you guys. Well, first, if you haven't been to my Facebook page, you got to go to it right now. It's real simple, www.facebook.com/32, the number 32, Degrees of Insanity, and take a look at the first photo that I posted. My guest, JoAnne, that we just had on here a few moments ago, was talking about her taking pictures of Mars. And I was like, wait, whoa. We have this new Mars photo out. Hello? We have this new Mars photo out, and I don't know what just happened to my microphone. So I am... Hello, test 1, 2, test. Well, it looks like I can't even hear myself, but I will try something here. So let's see here. Let's try and figure out why I can't hear myself. And all right, if anybody's in the studio... All right, I can't hear myself. JoAnne, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Test 1, 2. There we go. Okay, finally I can hear myself. That was really weird. You know, it's always kind of something weird. You got the real small studio right here, and it's like you hit one thing and blah, it goes off. But anyways, talking about this Mars photo on my Facebook page. And this Mars photo, it looks like a dang gun turret. It's like this weird looking thing. And somebody brings up a great thing. It says, why is it whenever we see pictures of like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, or aliens or UFOs or anything like that, why do we always see these blurry images? And this image is very, very odd looking because it is an image that's very blurry, but it looks like a gun turret, like one of those actual, like the ion cannon from Empire Strikes Back. It looks like it. I mean, it looks huge, but it's very, very. It's definitely not a rock or anything like that. But this is something that was taken by the Mars rover, and I thought that the Mars